This video covers everything we did in class today on Wednesday, December 15th in 7th grade math. Your first step is to open up ClassKick and to complete the Do Now. So please pause this video, open up ClassKick, and complete the Do Now. Okay, so let's take a look at question 1. In question 1, we have two like terms. Our like terms are 3x and 5x. We know that we can combine our x terms to have a total of 8 x's, because if we have 3x and 5x, then we would have a total of 8 x's. And then we have to add our 5, because we also have that 5 that's not a like term, but is still a part of our expression. And so we end up with 8x plus 5. Now, in question 2, we have two groups of like terms. We've got our y's, 7y and 9y. And then we also have our whole numbers, -4 and +7. So we know that we can combine 7y minus 9y. If I have 7y and I take away 9y, this is a little tricky, but I end up with -2y. Now, if I have a -4 and a +7, you could think of this as -4 plus 7, or you could just think of it as 7 minus 4. Either way, we end up with a +3 for 2y plus 3. Finally, in question 3, we just have our x terms, 8 x's and 0.01 x, and so we end up with a total of 8.1 x's. And that's today's Do Now. We've got a foundations quiz coming up on Friday, so if you have any questions, make sure that you send Ms. Kinez an email. In today's class, we continued to work on problems involving percent, and specifically percent increase or decrease when we know the original amount and the new amount. We did some work finishing up lesson 11, so if you were here yesterday, I suggest that you go back to yesterday's folder and watch the video posted there, just to make sure that you're all caught up on everything we did during lesson 11. Then we completed 12.1, this says 11, it should say 12.1, and 12.2. If you're absent, I'm going to have you focus in on two things today. We're going to first focus on 12.2, and then we're going to focus on the lesson synthesis and completing tonight's homework. Please join me on slide 3, and we're going to skip straight to 12.2, what is percent? So if you need to pause this video, do so. You need to join me on slide 3. Question 1 says, a salesperson sold a car for $18,250, and their commission is $693.50. What percentage of the sales price is their commission? Yesterday, we talked a lot about identifying what is the part and what is the whole. In this question, we know that we're identifying the percentage of the sales price. And so the whole in this problem is the sales price, because that's what we're finding the percentage of. We know that the part in this problem is the commission, because the commission is what it's asking us about. What percentage of the sales price is that commission? And so I'm going to go ahead and label my commission with the word part, just so I can keep track of each of the values that I'm working with in this problem. I've got a whole and I've got a part. Now, I know that I'm trying to determine my percent, which means I can rely on my formula, parts over whole times 100 equals percent. That's a formula we've been using in class a lot lately that will help you to determine the final answer to this question. I know that my part in this problem is the commission. And as it says in the question, the commission is $693.50. My whole is the sales price, which is $18,000, $18,250. And so I know that I can calculate part over whole simply by dividing 693.50 divided by 18,520 times 100, which gives me a final answer of 3.7%. And that's my percentage. By identifying the part and the whole, we're able to more easily determine the missing information. I know that I'm looking for a percent, and I know my whole, and I know my part. So I can rely on my formula, part times whole, or part divided by whole times 100 is equal to percent. If you need to pause this video to get caught up on question 1, now's a good time. Please join me on slide 3, and we'll take a look at questions 2 and 3. Your first step in question 2 is to read the problem, and I would like you to read the problem and label the part and the whole. So go ahead and pause this video and follow those directions. Read the problem and label the part and the whole. Okay, so you should have tried this on your own first. We know that we're looking for what percentage of the bill was the tip. And so that phrase, percentage of the bill, tells us that the whole is the cost of the entire bill. And so I'm going to go ahead and label that whole. And I'm color coding this to make it more clear. You don't have to go that far. The whole is the entire bill. The part is going to be the tip. And I'm going to label that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use my same formula that I used in part 2, or part 1. Part over whole times 100 is equal to percent. And once again, we know the part, we know the whole, and so we're able to calculate percent. Go ahead and pause this video and calculate the percent for this question. I'm going to have you do this one on your own. Okay, if you're listening, you should have a final percent listed here. You can always check your answer by opening up the PDF that I posted of the class notes. Finally, we have question 3. It says the original price of a bicycle was $375. Now it's on sale for $295. What percentage of the original price was the markdown? I want you to follow the same directions that we worked on for question 2. Please go ahead and pause this video, read the problem, and label the part and the whole. We're focused on question 3. So read the problem and label the part and the whole in question 3. Okay, so you should have done your labeling on your own. Let's check our work. I know that I'm looking for the percentage of the original price. So I know that the original price is my whole. I know that I'm finding the percentage of the original price that is the markdown. In other words, what percentage of the original price was the markdown? The markdown was something out of the original price, or a portion of the original price. And so I'm looking for the markdown as a percentage of the original price, which means the markdown is my part. And so once again, I've got my whole identified and I've got my part identified. I can see in the question that the markdown is going to be the difference between the original price and the sale. The original price is $375, and now it's on sale for $295. That word markdown means how much the price decreased. In this case, the price went from $375 to $295. So how much did the price decrease? Well, I know that 375 minus 295 is equal to a markdown of $80. So this is my markdown. Now I have all the information that I need to use my regular percent formula. I know that my whole is $375, and I know that my markdown is $80. And so you can scroll up, use the same formula you did in question 2, and pause this video to answer question 3. Here's what your work should look like for question 3. In question 3, you know that you have a part, which is $80, that's your markdown, divided by your whole, which is 375, and times 100. That's going to give us a final answer or a percentage of the original price that the markdown is of 21.33%. That's how much the markdown is related to the original price. Let's take a look at slide 5 together. When we're looking for an increase or a decrease from a given percentage, we can find the price of the increase, like a 30% increase, or we can also calculate 130% of the original number. For example, a 30% increase is simply 50 times 1.3. Just like if we had a 30% decrease, we can just find 70% of 50, or 0.7 times 50. When we know the initial amount and the final amount, we can also find percent increase or percent decrease. This is a lot like the markdown problem that we just did here. We knew that the price changed from 375 to 295, so for an $80 markdown. And so we were able to calculate the percent by finding the difference in the original and the final price, then calculating the percent out of that total price. The key part about answering these questions is reading closely, identifying the information you know, and being clear on what the question is asking you. On slide 6, you have your cool down for today. Please take a look at that when this video ends. After your cool down, make sure you take a look at tonight's homework. As always, if you have any questions, please make sure that you send Ms. Knez an email.